Messed me up. All right. Well, there's the end. We got a lot to do today anyway, so it's time to stop. At least I got this working again. Oop. There. All right. What happens when you make requests? What up? Okay. Well, before we get into all that, so I'll talk a little bit about the call, and then once I'm done shipping, I'll sit down. We can have a real talk with my undivided attention, because I think it might deserve that. So let's see. Yesterday's sales were not terrible. 333, which is the best Monday in 3 weeks. So can't complain about that, although I can certainly try if I want to. Here's what sold postcards is in ephemera-wise. Camp Pendleton, Main Gate, Oceanside, California. Ooh, an offer. This guy lowballed me, so now, here, we'll just open in the new tab. He gets no discount. Nice try. I warned you. All of your offers are invalid. He started at $7.99, went to $8, and then I said, your low balls annoyed me. Now the lowest I will go is the sale price, not a penny lower. You can keep trying, but this is the new floor price. That's what he gets. It'll sell. $470 for Camp Pendleton, Chrome, unposted. This came out of the Real Photo lot that I bought. This is one of the nicer ones. This is 6-cylinder Mitchell automobile driving through the flooded streets of San Jose in the flood of 1911. Took a day to sell, sold for $40. Happy about that. This one just listed yesterday, sold yesterday. This is the Klein Brothers Department Store, Talladega, Alabama. Unposted, white border, listed and sold within an hour for $37.95. Did I underprice it? It's the only one that's ever come up on the market. I don't know. I'm happy. I need to be recouping as much of that money as I can as quickly as possible. So all of these sales are, I'm more than halfway there in less than 4 days. So that's good. Columbia Gorge hotel on the Columbia Gorge, Hood River, Oregon. Sold for $5.95. This has been in the store for a while. I've got a bunch of these. These are the Winchester Gallery targets. They're pretty common because the Winchester Repeating Arms Company traveled around with these for a long time. They can be dated essentially by what is on the back here, but they all pretty much have these targets on the front. Sometimes there will be bullet holes, sometimes there will not. This one did not. Here is the B.E. Wallace Residence, Peru, Indiana, Elk's Home. This came from one of the albums I bought off of eBay over the summer, sold for $11.35. Another real photo postcard from the recent pickup. Twin tunnels on the Columbia River Highway in Mosier, Oregon. EOOY photo, sold for $4.95. Same customer also bought this one, which is the Mitchell Point Tunnel on the Columbia River Highway. I got a lot of Columbia River highways in this buy, real photos. So moving those out, happy even if I'm not getting top dollar because I have so many. I thought I had almost sold through my Multnomah Falls real photo postcards. False. Now I've got like 20 of them. Here's this little girl in a studio with a hat and a little white dress. Cruxos, sold for like $5 something. Here's what listed since yesterday, over close to $1,000 in postcards. 134 listings since the show yesterday. The only real highlights, there's the Alabama card that sold already. This cyanotype of the Maple Grove house in Champaign, New York. Listed that up for $37.95. Pretty cool card. There is one historical comp on that, so who knows if I'm too high, but that's where I'm at now. The Imbler's City Center Motel in Wheeler, Oregon. No other examples of this card. Put it up for $20. We'll see what happens. And this one, Bolo Town in Oregon, Lentz, Oregon. The postmark is a DPO. So Cameron, are you listening? Lentz, Oregon. I believe it's a ghost town now. And look at that Old West dirt street view kind of thing. Pretty much right on point for what these cards should go for. So there you have that. Not too shabby. Okay. So let me catch up with the chat real quick. You guys have been chatty. What's up? Mike and me, Carl, Cameron. That was not something completely different, actually. That was the original track that the sample came from. It just sounded different. Okay, we're going to get to that in a second here. Yes, you heard that for a second, but then I changed my mind. No, I am not announcing the new Jackass Marketplace. I'll talk about that in a second. Yes, I agree. But, okay. Correct. That is correct. That's how it works. However, stay tuned. So let me get to the shipping, and I'll tell you about my call. So I met with Ivan, who is the same person who met with Reseller Information Network and Hayfro Sells, and I'm like, oh, Ivan, I know who you are because these people. And I told him I opened the call. Basically, I'm like, I've been hearing from a lot of other resellers. I've looked at the site. I've done some research, and my understanding of it is, essentially you're going currently after, your marketing strategy is against social media influencers, because they're building and this is how it seems, is a integrated social networking and social commerce site. So instead of like creating a social network and then trying to figure out a way to commercialize and sell through it. So think about like how YouTube, right? Like YouTube existed for a while before YouTube auctions existed or selling through YouTube existed. Like, there was obviously like the ways to monetize it beyond just ad spend took a while. Same thing like Facebook, right? Like, the way Facebook Marketplace, Facebook wasn't built with Marketplace in mind. Instagram selling, those kind of things. What they're doing is trying to create a commerce site that is based around essentially social networking, right? So building your base around what you have already built up in a sense. So if you're running like a Facebook group or things like that, they're looking for you to essentially parlay that over to their site and bring that community over where it already has all these selling tools integrated, live selling, auctions, buy it nows, etc. So that's where they're coming from, and that I kind of knew that going in. The fees are, yes, basically there is a 10% selling fees, and half of it goes to them, and the other half goes to you. And there is a payment processing fee that they just pass through. Okay, so, and it's, I think, 35 cents per item. Their payouts, everything goes through Zelle, Stripe, not Zelle, Stripe, my mistake. Which is, whatever it is, what it is. I don't really use Stripe, but I have a Stripe account. And then, of course, link to a bank account, yada, yada, yada. So my first two questions going into this was, one, my business name, my store name, and all of my branding is Jackass Retro. Is that going to be a problem? I'm like, because I was on Whatnot for a year before they told me it was a problem. I need to know if it's a problem now or if it's ever going to be a problem. To which he didn't know the answer to that, and he'd get back to me. My second question was, based on how I see that you guys are doing this, which is a one person bringing, or business, or maybe one or two, such as Reseller Information Network, bring in their community, and then their community can then sell sort of underneath them, tapping into that crowd that they've already built. And then that marketplace owner basically gets paid for what they're bringing to the table. And so my first question was, what if I don't want to do that? Like, what if I don't want to be the sole owner of a marketplace? Can a group be an owner of a marketplace? Is there a way to do that? And the answer to that was yes. In theory, you can have 10,000 people own a marketplace. However, there is going to be one person or one account that somehow gets paid. And they have to have like somebody who's in charge, or a small group of people in charge to manage it. So, a la reseller information network is for people who are running and managing that. Now, a couple of things. One, the auction setting, or not the auction, the live setting. There's a cool thing where it integrates to YouTube, where people watching from YouTube can actually like claim or buy on a buy it now straight off of YouTube, which I thought was a cool feature. However, you can only go live on their platform currently with an Apple device. That was like, I'm like, well, that's kind of exclusionary. That's going to probably bring a lot of people out. That said, I don't know how many people are really, especially in paper and ephemera, that interested in going live. Like, it's, if we, they want to, they can go to Whatnot and do that. And honestly, like, I think that the paper market on Whatnot has kind of petered out a little bit, or at least it's peaked, right? It's definitely peaked. So this was my next big question. Do they have a listing migration tool? And will it or does it integrate with eBay? The answer to that was 3 weeks. They will have an eBay store sync. Now, I assume that probably means early next year. But to me, that seems fine. If people are interested in what I have cooking. So what I have cooking is this. I am not interested and let me also say that, like, this whole thing of big social or like social media influencers, they're getting first crack at this, right? They are given the opportunity to be early adopters, get their marketplace set up, and they're going to reap the benefits. So the rich get richer. I don't like that. What I would like to do is this, and this is the idea that I have. Paper Pushers Marketplace. And here's the idea. Rather than fees going to a single person or individual, well, first of all, everybody's an owner. There are things like chat and administrative chat and discussions like from the administration and seller side, like built into this, which is cool. Or it can be set up on some other, I don't know, what's a good site where discussions can happen in like sort of like a bulletin board thing. I don't know. I've never done one of those, but specifically maybe around like selling paper, pushing paper. If something like that exists, I'd be open to using that particular thing as a means for discussing this further. That is, of course, if it exists. I don't think it does. That being said, rather than a individual being paid the 5%, perhaps having a small amount split amongst like a small crew of like 3 people that can rotate. Like somebody to manage the money, somebody to manage moderation or some other aspect. And like, this is just an idea. It's not fully fleshed out yet, keep in mind. And then taking all the rest of those fees and dumping them into Google ad spend, pointing back to that marketplace, or Facebook advertising or Instagram advertising. So basically all the fees that are collected just basically go into an account and then go out in the form of advertising. So half the fees that you're paying go directly to that you have to pay anyways. You have to pay the 10%. So, or that's the fees. There's no way you can't choose opt into like 3% or 11%. 10% is their fee, and it will always be their fee, is what they said. But taking that money and putting it into ad spend directed back to the marketplace, that so all the sellers benefit. I don't want to do all of it. It would be great if other people think this is a good idea to get some help to try to build this. I think it's worthwhile. I'm sure there's also a valid discussion of doing this through the same thing through something like Shopify. I think though having District as the platform has some added benefit over Shopify. The other option is if you guys want to join District, start your own marketplace, do all the work, collect the 10%, you're welcome to it. But I think there's strength in numbers, and I think that my plan is the only one that's going to give you any additional benefit beyond just going into somebody's marketplace and being limited to their particular clientele. All right. I agree. And I basically told him, I'm like, there's no way I can believe that you're never going to raise your fees. Yeah, that's multi-level marketing. So, thoughts? I think if there's eBay integration, right? No, is this a vase? No, I don't think so. It's what's BOLOS? I don't know. Let me find out what this is. It might be a vase. It is a I don't know. It's a big cup. That's what it is. Here's the thing: is there's a lot of tools there that you can if you want to use or not use if you don't want to use them, right? Like you don't have to go live. You can go live on it without actually selling anything. I like the YouTube integration. It does not make any sense to me until they have eBay Sync. Like, there's no way anybody in this chat is going to use a fucking CSV file to migrate over 20,000 listings, right? Like, eBay sync is the only way it's going to work. And until that exists, it doesn't make any sense to even get too far down the line with it. However, I think that the way that it works best is basically the more sales that come through, the more fees that are collected, the bigger the ad spend, the more sales that come through. Until that point, anybody who does use social media for whatever, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, like having it point at a marketplace where it's not just you, but it's all kinds of other paper and ephemera sellers. If you're participating on Facebook pages or you're blah blah blah, right? Like, all of those things can point to a marketplace where you're not just pointing to Craigslist Hunter Marketplace. That I don't like. And I don't like going on there and saying, okay, guys, you can join my marketplace. I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to make money off a community like that. I am interested in the idea of a rising tide lifts all boats. And I think that, there is, for the people who are regulars on the show and regulars in the chat and regulars on maybe some imaginary discussion forum that doesn't actually exist, or even the people who were regulars on Whatnot, that's a community of people, and I am interested in building and supporting that, not in financially benefiting from those members directly. If it means that I sell more stuff by growing that community, I'm okay with that. But I don't want to, I don't want to be like, okay, come to the thing that I did, and if you sell something, I get 10%. I don't like that. That feels gross. How are they advertising to buyers? So here's what they're doing. They're doing what Whatnot did. Their marketing plan, and this is not what they told me. This is me extrapolating. It is exactly what Whatnot did. They're going after the big influencers first, right? That's why you see Craigslist Hunter. That's why you see Crazy Lamp Lady, the two biggest subscriber bases in this niche, right? And I assume that the carrot they're dangling is a really nice one. Because those influencers aren't making videos like that for free. Just saying. Also, the earlier they are to it and the more people they can gobble up and start collecting their 10%, the less in that field is going to be available for the later adopters. I feel like if you are interested in going to that platform or expanding into that platform, I have a much better value proposition than probably anybody else that is discussing this at this point. If this were to go forward with anybody who wants to participate, it would be open accounting. I feel like it would have to be. And probably any major decision happening democratically within a discussion space as well. Will have to be somebody to push the buttons and pull the levers. But I think that things can actually happen pretty democratically and be successful. I am not saying at all that decisions should be unanimous, or what's the fucking 99% thing, consensus structure at all. I think that discussion is important, and I think that I don't like the idea of having a top-down marketplace at all, or a bottom-up marketplace. Anything that resembles a pyramid feels icky to me. So that's, and I asked if doing this, what I'm talking about, is feasible. And the only downside is that it does, because of the Zelle and the bank account, it has to run through a business, either social security number or EIN, which theoretically is fine, because if all the money that comes into that account is also going out in the form of ad spend, it's a net zero. So it's just all business expense. They said early 2023 for that. Yes, that's true. And what's up, Landshark Picker? It's been a minute since he came in this place. So here's the thing. When the way that I look at it is this. You don't pay a store fee, right? You're only paying 10% of your you call it a final value fee, right? You're paying 10% plus payment processing, and that's it. They pass through payment processing from the customer. They collect payment processing that just passes through to you. So, and it's, I think, 35 cents per transaction, which is the same as what I think Zelle charges or something like that. Not Zelle, Stripe. If they have eBay integration, this makes sense. This doesn't make sense until that point. However, if seeing that they're roadmapped about 3 weeks out on that gives them time to set up structures and whatnot to get ready for that. If anybody else is interested in doing this, I would like to, share some responsibilities and decisions and workload early in the process, because we all still have businesses to run, and it is Q4, and I understand that and respect it. And I agree with Landshark Picker. Buyers is the biggest hurdle. But I think that if there's, even a half dozen, even 3 or 4 to start with, I don't think you have to start at the offset, although that's going to make things easier and I think more successful. The earlier, the better. There's really not a lot of risk here. There is a little bit, like almost no startup cost. I would want anyone who's starting out to probably go, get in on a training call with me, because there's definitely more that I'd want to learn and ask about. Oops. Figuring out some sort of delineation of duties, and then, setting up accounting, setting up the ad spends, things like that. They're working on it. I don't. Well, okay, so there's a lot of apps that hit Apple first and then come later with Android. But I agree that the no Android thing is kind of a big, but that's only for going live. You can still use it. And their whole thing was like, we could either go have a partial app now and maybe, and then have to go through the whole approval process for the full featured app, or they're like, just wait to come out with the Android app and until it's done. Their biggest priority is what they told me. It's sync they said 3 weeks from now it should sync with eBay. And yeah, I agree with this. You can still go from a desktop, but you have to be on an Apple device to go live. That's the only downside. But is anyone in here really that excited to go live? I'm live every fucking day. I don't need to go live on a platform. That's true. Not yet, but they can still shop from desktop. And the Ivan was well aware that is like kind of their weak point right now, is not having Android ready to go. And I can certainly come back to him with that. I'm like, I also think that like having something not fully featured yet also creates more opportunity, because the same thing that is going to be maybe deal killers for some is going to thin their herd and open things up for people who that isn't. If you see that as an opportunity rather than a hindrance, then I think that could be a thing. So, just saying. Right? And I could do it on YouTube. I did better on YouTube going live than I ever did on Whatnot. Lots of people do. Or laptop, right? Probably more likely laptop. When I say desktop, I also mean laptop. And I mean, to be clear, Ainsley, I agree with you that I sold 2 Stampin' and Upses These came from a big buy of Stampin' and Upses. Actually, these came from two different buys. We've got Trendy Trees and Tags and More. $3.19 and $4.82. And it's to be clear, from what I gathered from them, it's not like it's not a priority for them. It is very much a priority for them. They just are not there yet. And sometimes, what's the phrase? Sometimes you go to war with the army you've got, not the army you want. So that's kind of where they're at, and I understand that. Like, you can't. I don't. There's very few. Think ChatGPT or Dolly or like those things were glitchy as fuck when they came out, and they weren't fully featured, and they didn't work on everything. That's just kind of I think part of the whole software game. Like you get out there with what you got before you start hemorrhaging money, because you have to monetize your investment at some point, and you can't wait till it's perfect, otherwise you'll go out of business. Oh man, 1 ounce. I could have probably gotten this under. Let's see here. All right, we're gonna redo this because I can definitely get it under an ounce. Did we get there? Damn it. All right. Screw it. You aren't competing with each other. I mean, technically you are, but in the same... let me put it this way. If you go to a like, good example, Pike's Place Market in Seattle. Anyone ever been? Anybody ever been to Pike's Place Market? Anybody? Bueller? Pike's Place Market. entire top floor, almost completely fruit vendors and fishmongers. Almost completely. You've been in the top floor of Pike's Place Market? In the dead of winter on a Tuesday, the place is completely packed. All those vendors are competing with each other. They're all selling the same thing. Are they not, although also by doing so, gaining benefit from having such a large community in one place at one time? Like, just because you have competitors in the same, occupying the same space doesn't mean they're both not benefiting. Nobody lost the cola wars. Yeah, flea market's a great example. You have tons of vendors selling vintage items. They're all competing with each other, selling the same thing. They all set up in the same area, directly next to and across from each other. Are they going to be better off if they just set up a table by themselves in the middle of a park? So I'm not trying to shut anybody down, but I don't see that particular argument as valid. I don't think that saying, oh, you're all just selling the same thing, why are you going to be in the same place competing with each other? We're already in the same place competing with each other. We're all on eBay selling postcards or ephemera or whatever. Also, I think, I think having, it doesn't mean you only can sell ephemera. I like having the umbrella of paper pushers, but I think, whatever else you want to sell is fine. Paper pushing just being the through line, if you will. The thing I really did not like, I don't like, and the thing that turns me off is the idea that, not the idea, just the whoever gets there first gets the spoils kind of thing, which is really what's happening on District right now. If you are going to go and sign up under somebody else's marketplace, you have no ownership. The only benefit you are going to get is from that single individual's marketplace and community and whatever. And it doesn't seem like it, even if it's Crazy Lamp Lady or Craigslist Hunter or Commonwealth Picker or whoever ends up there, that market is extremely limited compared to the total marketplace. I assure you that the Craigslist Hunter marketplace is a tiny fraction of the available marketplace for that kind of product, which is why I think a automated sort of self-feeding organism that basically takes the fees and puts it into its own promotion is going to be so much more beneficial than having one person at the top collecting the money for bringing their effort and their marketplace and their community as if they own the community. They don't own the community. I hate that idea too. I think that is like, I hate that kind of language. And the stuff that I've seen on this from other channels or influencers or whatever, and really the language that is this idea of you were joining that person's apostrophe S ownership marketplace / community. No thanks. I'm not interested in that. All right, let me catch up here. Sorry. I want peach biscuits. There's a lot of similar vibes. I don't disagree with that. So basically the payment processing is just Zelle, or not Zelle, Stripe. Oh, I went back too far. Yeah, so I like it if it syncs. That's it. If it doesn't sync, I'm not putting a lot of effort into it. I don't mind putting a little bit of effort into it on the promise that it will sync. But I'm not, like, I got 3,000 postcards to list right now. That's my main goal, and a bunch of other stuff I need to get listed. Listed and sold. I will put in some effort on this. But I think that it's going to take a few people to do it right. Yes, that is true. Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. What flavor? Right now, it's strawberry lemon iced. Yeah, it's not their own app. It's their own marketplace within the platform. All right, next. Sold this year. Vintage Hallmark pillowed front greeting card in the original box. Never been used. This has been in the store for 2 years, 3 years maybe, since 2021 at least. Sold for $9.31. Kind of cool, right? Not like amaze balls, but kind of cool. We'll use this. It's perfect. I have no clue where I got this. Not even the faintest idea. I also want to say, like, I am. I'm glad that everybody is skeptical. I am also skeptical, although that may not be coming through 100%. What I am expressing is the only thing that would make it interesting to me, which is using it as a community builder for ephemera sellers that is not centralized around whoever gets there first. I think that if we all get there first, then everybody benefits, not just the people who get there first. If somebody else gets there first, and they're the first to build it, guess what? You're paying a guy. There's a lot of the folks on here ended up selling on Whatnot. At some point, a lot of the sellers on here probably sell on multiple integrated platforms, Bonanza, Hip, etc. And I think that if there is that syncing that is able to happen, it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, from the point of view of the platform, it totally makes sense to me, right? Like, and I mentioned that it was, top down or bottoms up. Like, it seemed a little pyramidy to me, and frankly, like he didn't say anything that made me think that less. However, so my questions the entire time were basically focused around how do I get around that to make it not a pyramid, right? How do you make it a web and not a pyramid? And how do you make it where you are not just trying to tap into somebody else's market, but you can build a market that essentially can grow itself in some way. And that was really where I was coming from. And I think what I've been talking about, basically, building a market where the fees literally just go into ad spend, and that's it. Your money that you pay in fees that you're going to have to pay if you're going to sell on that platform anyways, goes directly into ad spend. That's it. And whatever other administration stuff. I agree. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested. It's why my channel has 1,300 subs after 3 years. I'm not trying to be out there and like be the biggest YouTuber in the space. If I wanted to be a big YouTuber, I'd start all over and start a new channel and not do this. All right. Sold 2 of these great courses. These took a year to sell. I bought these in October 22 at the Goodwill bins. I paid $1 a piece. This is great courses from Monet to Van Gogh, History of Impressionism, and great courses, The Life and Writings of C.S. Lewis. This one sold for $14. This one sold for $6. I don't need to do those. I can just use this. That was another thing I really did not like about Whatnot is like how much effort you had to put into build a following. Man, that's fucking exhausting. I don't want to do that. One of the reasons why I never decided to try to super pursue DJing and always just treat it as a fun hobby that sometimes paid me money was the amount of self-promotion that's required is immense and exhausting. And the people who are very into self-promotion are exhausting to me. I don't ever want to be that person that's just constantly self-promoting. That sucks. It's a I think that there is, and that's the other thing, is that in a marketplace where you're taking those fees and turning it into ad spend, you are going to have to do some self-promoting on the outset, but then after that, you don't have to do any, because then in theory, you're attracting all of your own buyers through ad spend in various places. Facebook ads, Google ads, probably Instagram ads are all good places to do that. And you can, you push your customers that way. And once you kind of get off the ground and start going and you start having those fees start coming in, your ad spend is directly proportional to how much is selling. So the more you sell, the better the ad spend, the more customers you attract or get in front of and attract, more ad fees, so on and so forth. Yep. I don't think so. Yeah. I it took me a while, but I eventually figured out that Whatnot was doing more work for less money. It didn't seem like it because you're getting instant gratification for the effort that you put in. But it made it easy to confuse uh, instant gratification with uh, being with being successful on the platform. Just saying. That's not to say there aren't. I didn't make money on the platform. I did, but I also had to source twice as hard. I had to, uh, 3 hours of Whatnot show. The amount that I could list in that time would have been 10 times as much as what I made on average per hour on Whatnot. Not to mention the amount of time that goes into prepping, shipping, sourcing. And not to mention also the opportunity cost of lost business by not listing on eBay. The time that it took me away from eBay cost me money on eBay that was not necessarily made up by Whatnot, or was made up by Whatnot, but not fully or completely. And there were long-term negative effects on my eBay store from all the time that I spent on Whatnot. Also, giving away my profit, which is I hemorrhaged profit on Whatnot. I already know all roads lead back to eBay. I'm believe me, I'm still there's a reason why I have 24,300 listings on eBay and under 100 on any other platform outside of Hip Postcard and Bonanza, which sync to eBay. Is that a hand raise, Ainsley? I don't know what that emoji is. Wait, how is there an emoji on this now? They finally put emojis on. Oh, eBay for I'm just surprised that I see an emoji on the stream. That's weird. Maybe eventually I'll be able to click on links. Next up is this. It is a snow globe of Pirate Stadium, right? Pirates PNC Park inaugural season from 2001, technically vintage now. Hooray! I had 4 of these, and I sold 2, and then somehow 2 got unlisted. And then I figured out that they were unlisted, so I listed them, and this one sold. It's just buy it now, right? it's not as if like Whatnot all of a sudden has this great new feature. Whatnot figured out a way to be eBay. But on like, let me ask you this question: if you want to buy somebody a Christmas gift, what percentage? How many? Not percentage. Let's do it the easy way. How many people out of 1,000 are going to go to Whatnot first and search for the item that they're looking for, or an item that they're looking for, or a category of an item that they're looking for? How many people out of 1,000 are going to go to the Whatnot marketplace and search for any Christmas gift for any person in Q4? How many people out of 1,000? Put it in the chat. Maybe 5%. I disagree. I think it's something like 1/10 of one person out of 1,000. I think 1 in 10,000, maybe, and I think that's being generous. Nobody is going to Facebook, or not to Facebook, to Whatnot to browse. People are on Whatnot. The only people who benefit from having Buy It Now stores. I'm not saying that you might not have sold a few things off of there. I'm sure that people who have been religiously listing there for some reason have sold some things, but I guarantee you the amount of effort and time for the return is negligible. The exception being anybody who has large followings of people who are going to just buy from them to support them, like Commonwealth Picker or ADH Dave or something similar. I agree with it. At this point, totally, 100%. District is an itty bitty little baby right now. And yeah. And you are exactly, Ping. It is way more impulse buying, the excitement of an auction, the fast paced, blah, 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 all that stuff. We've got 30 people in the chat. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm guessing a lot of y'all are lursting because we've got probably about the same 15 people participating, but we like the lursters. We love our lurkers over here at Jackass Retro. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new here or you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing or hitting the bell notification thing so you know when I go live, which is pretty much every day. There's also channel memberships. If you find what we do here at all valuable, $2 a month helps me pay the StreamYard bill. That's about really what it does. And you get some emojis, I think. Well, look at that, Ainsley. You just proved what we already all knew. You're 1 in 10,000. eBay's being fucky. You can. I send from address must be in the United Kingdom for purchase a label. The fuck? Oh, I see what happened. It kicked me over to ebay.co.uk for some reason. There we go. Now we're going to try again. What's up, Primetime? Thanks for coming in. In a minute, hey, Primetime, if you stick around, Dom, you're going to see at least, well, I only have 2 things left to ship, but we do have super secret Primetime treasure hunter shipping hack that the USPS doesn't want you to know about. Stay tuned. All right, next up, sold a mug. This is a pewter mug. Frankly, I probably could have got more for this based on the pewter weight. I could have probably melted that into ingots for the $7 I got. Let's see, what's pewter cost right now? Pewter scrap price, $3 to $5 a pound. So I could have gotten about as much in scrap pewter price as I got for this here Sheffield, England pewter mug. There you go. So yeah, I like the idea of I don't like the idea of the I feel like I've communicated where I'm at with this. If you guys have questions, you can leave them in the chat. I'm happy to answer. I am going to put a little bit of work into this and maybe start setting a few things up. If you have interest in that, in building a marketplace that is not top-down pyramid structure, and kind of helping build and proceed with the idea that I am discussing here, or I shouldn't say discussing, I'm sort of monologuing on. Hit me up. You know where to find me. I am on the Instagrams. I will do my best to remember to check my messages this week. I am open to other ideas. Like I said, I would prefer not to go this alone. In fact, the idea is very specifically not to go this alone. So yeah. I mean, I'm pretty good at cleaning every now and then. Right now, I'm very much. I have ADHD, so the cleaning thing. When I get in the zone, I can clean, but the keeping it clean is the challenge. And I do give myself some grace, especially in here. But there will be a day, probably in the not too distant future, that I hit my point and this place gets cleaned in a couple of hours. Your criticism is valid. It's the same one that Kevin, the Commonwealth Picker, has whenever he comes in the chat. But it is what it is. All right, so here's our last thing. Check it out. Diet's Little Wizard Lantern. So what we're going to do here is take this thing out, and then we're going to box that. We're going to use the super secret primetime treasure hunter, put a box in your box method. UPS doesn't want you to know about, or USPS, I should say, also doesn't want you to know about it. Nobody wants you to know about it. I got this at, let me remember how to do this. It goes like that. Yep, that's right. I know it comes out because it was dirty when I bought it. Maybe I'll just, I don't want to do that. Oh, there we go. Bought a bunch of lanterns at the estate sale where I got all the cast iron. And I think I have one lantern left. The rest are all sold. This sold for $35. Took an offer. It's going to one of those overseas reshipping services, which is great because all I got to do is get it to Florida and they can't return it. I've seen it. As much as I like to make fun of YouTube channels, especially those that are bigger than mine, you know, I find it's good to punch up. I also watch them. I don't specifically remember that video, but I think I've seen everything that you put out in the last 5 years. So here's the thing though, is Dom, as you probably are aware based on the field that you're in, you can't somebody with ADHD is not going to be able to ever follow somebody else's plan that was made for them to do or deal with anything. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? No doubt it will work. 100% whatever you said is going to work. But unless what you said has the dopamine reward for that particular individual, never going to happen. My last girlfriend was long-term relationship was OCD. I at the time was still undiagnosed ADHD. You just take a guess how that went. Did not realize yet at that point in my life to communicate things that I know how to communicate now. Could not understand why I could never turn the lights off when leaving a room, or why I always left cabinet doors open. And frankly, for me, I didn't really know either, but let's see here. I don't like that box. That'll be fun. If it fits. Will it fit? It'll fit. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, that's what ADHD is. It's not a deficit of dopamine. It's the inability to regulate it. going to use that box. We're done. Paper. Other box. More paper. All right, good enough. So, Dom, if you're still here, I do have a question. I know that you ended the series, but the thrift battles, I thought those were great. But I also understand they're a lot of work. Somebody should bring them back. Maybe not you, but somebody. Hey, Josh. Yeah, very nice. That's our, yeah. So Josh is my Burning Man, boss man, campmate in the chat here. He's been in before. Everybody say hi to Josh. And this is our Burning Man camp hoodie from 2018. That's the year. Camp mascot is a raccoon, of course, amongst our mascots. We also have a poop wizard. Well, Josh came in just in time for the last item. This is kind of a shitty box. I'm also not terribly worried about it. The only thing that really can get damaged in there is the globe, and that is well protected. All right. What do we got here? 13, 17, 9. 4 pounds on the money. Yeah, I know they were a lot of work and a lot of energy to run a show like that. I am not that guy. Okay, everybody. Well, I shipped the things I shipped, and all the shipping things I shipped. I've never been relaxed enough to say that to somebody else before. That's a lie. But it does mean we've come to the end of another shipping adventure. Thank you, everybody who joined in and participated and lursted and lurked and all that stuff. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Hit me up on the Insta or the Facebooks or whatever you want. If you want to talk a little more directly about this whole district thing. And we'll be back tomorrow. I'll catch you all on the flippy flop. Peace out. Bye.